Hello and welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute-a-day podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse, recorded here in the dining room of the Bible Bistro, located in Sharonville, Ohio. Hey there, friend. Welcome back to Daily Dose Radio here in the Bible Bistro. Yes, you have found it. This is the freshest 5-minute-a-day, 5-day-a-week studying the Psalms verse by verse podcast you'll ever find on the interwebs. It's just like that little fruit stand on the international highway. You know, you're just driving along and suddenly you see that little fruit stand and it's mom and pop place, and you go in there and you find the freshest of whatever you're looking for. This is what we have here in Daily Dose Radio. Just your little fruit stand on the side of the interwebs international highway. Got the freshest in the fruits from the Psalms right here for you every day. I do this just for you. So here you go. Today we're looking at verses 22 through 24 in Psalm 109. Now we've done Psalm 109 in two pieces because it's kind of long. It's 31 verses. So to do it verse by verse and treat everything just right, we want to kind of break it down a little bit. Now we've seen the two items that David tells us invite the judgment of the wicked. In this psalm, it's all about the words. So the two things is he didn't show mercy, but he persecuted the poor, and he loved cursing, and he didn't delight in blessing. So those two things, you know, he remembered not to show mercy, and he loved cursing. Those two things are the big ones that invite judgment for the wicked. Now we come to verse 21, read that yesterday, but that kind of kicks off for us a new section here, and this is David's confession and / request, if you want to put it that way. You'll notice that it begins with the adversative but do thou for me, O God. That's in verse 21. And then we continue this thought, beginning here in verse 22. For I am poor and needy, and my heart is wounded within me. I am gone like the shadow when it declines. I am tossed up and down as the locust. My knees are weak through fasting, and my flesh fails of fatness. Now, his confession here is really quite beautiful, isn't it? Look at all of this. He says, I'm poor and needy. My heart is wounded within me. See, that's a good place to be. Once you realize that you are poor and needy, that's the place when you can come before the Lord. Because remember how the Lord Jesus began the Beatitudes. Blessed are the poor in spirit. You remember that? That's what this is. David says, I'm poor and needy. This is the blessing of the poor in spirit because they know who they are. They're poor. They don't have anything to offer, and they're not trying to negotiate with God. They have nothing that He wants, and they know that. They know that they're wounded. The heart is wounded within. There's no pretense, no cover-up. There is no garment of cursing that, covers him and wraps around him like a girdle. No, he doesn't have any of that. There's no arrogancy, no pride. He just knows who he is, and he knows that what he is less than. It's not more than. I am poor and needy. My heart is wounded. I'm gone like the shadow when it declines. That's how brief his life is. That's what he means here. I'm gone like a shadow. It's here for a little while. As long as the sun's at the right angle, it's a long shadow. But as the sun rises in the sky, the shadow becomes shorter and shorter and shorter until there is no more shadow. Doesn't take long. I am tossed up and down as the locust. Yeah, the locust has to be careful if it's a windy day. Because if it's a windy day, he's all over the place. If the wind's still, well, he can fly wherever he wants to. But on a windy day, no. He's not heavy enough to navigate a strong wind. And so David says of himself, I'm like the locust. I'm just tossed around because there's no real weight to me. My knees are weak through fasting. My flesh fails of fatness. I don't know about you, but my flesh does not fail of fatness. But I do have a problem, and that is that I am weak. I am weak. David confesses his weakness here. My knees are weak. Through fasting, my flesh fails of fatness. He's just saying there's no strength in my body whatsoever. No strength in my spirit. I have a wounded heart. There's no strength in my life. I'm like that little locust in the wind. I'm just tossed around. This is a good place to be, folks, because when you get here, you're able to say to the Lord what he says there in 21, for your name's sake, not for me, not because of me, because this is me, poor and needy, weak, tossed about, declining. That's me. But you, O God, for your name's sake, not because of me, but for your name's sake, because of your mercy, I'm asking, deliver me. It's a good prayer, a real good prayer. You know, you can take this into your closet. This will be a dandy one to take into your closet and just pray and say, Lord, you know, I'm poor. I'm needy. My heart is wounded. You know all the scars. Well, join me again tomorrow, and we'll look at verses 25 through 27 here on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. For more fresh and delicious Bible studies, podcasts, books, and more, check out the Bible Bistro online and on YouTube. Join me again next time for Daily Dose Radio.